Hi, my name is Janice Northen, and this is my video for my exit presentation for my Ed.S in principalship at Henderson State University. In this video, I'm going to talk about each of the NELP building level standards and tell you what they mean to me, as well as show you an artifact of how I feel like I've fulfilled that standard in this program. So, NELP Standard 1.1 talks about the mission and vision of a school. In this project, I wrote a paper that talks about the importance of collaboration in this process, the importance of ongoing evaluation and communication, and about how ultimately I feel like the mission ensures the fulfillment of a school vision statement. NELP Standard 1.2 talks about improvement processes. This was Dr. Alexander's class. This is a final project presentation where I used data, design, implementation, and an evaluation of an improvement process to fulfill this standard. NELP Standard 2.1 is about professional norms in both students and adults. This was a paper on ethics and professional norms that I wrote where I talked about how I have demonstrated completion of this standard in the past, but also how I continue to fulfill the standard in the future. NELP Standard 2.3 is modeling ethical behavior. In this project, I talk about, or I interview 3 educators regarding the Code of Ethics in Arkansas, and I discuss with those educators what modeling ethical behavior personally looks like, as well as cultivating it in others. NELP Standard 3.2. This standard talks about equitable access to resources for students. In this assignment, I read a couple chapters in our textbook and then summarized and answered questions regarding those chapters, specifically regarding implementing systematic and cultural change as I begin my principalship to provide equitable resources. NELP Standard 3.2 is actually a continuation of, I have 2 artifacts for this standard essentially. And this motivational research project was a project that I did in my master's at the University of Arkansas, where I studied the motivation to learn between science and engineering majors versus non-science and non-engineering majors, specifically in 3 areas related to anxiety and being judged by others, when working with others, and when challenged and despite fatigue. And side note, I found no statistical differences between the 2 in any of the 3 projects. Standard 3.3 talks about instruction and behavioral support practices for teachers. And in this project, I interviewed a special education supervisor at Central Arkansas Christian Schools where I work. We talked about major legal problems that she sees in special education, as well as concerns in special education that she has. NELP Standard 4 is all about learning and instruction, which I really feel like is probably my favorite standard. It's kind of my bread and butter, I guess, of the 7 NELP standards. It's the one that I have the most experience with and the one I get most excited about. 4.1 talks about high quality curricula. In this project, I really talk about the observations that I've already been doing at CAC in 6th through 12th grade classrooms, and I have 3 tailored goals that I would suggest for improvement. NELP Standard 4.2 talks about supporting equity, digital literacy in the school's academic and non-academic systems. In this program, or in this assignment, we did a force field and a fishbone analysis, which was kind of fun to design, that addresses action steps that are targeted towards remedial students, EL students, and just a diverse population of students in general. 4.4 is the systematic oversight of curriculum instruction, technology, data systems, and assessment practices. In modeling supervision, I interviewed our principal and incoming president at CAC, Dr. Andy Stewart, and we set goals to improve teacher performance through data, data-driven supervision, and instructional coaching. Standard 5.2 is all about relationships with your community members and your stakeholders. And so in this assignment, Dr. Mounts had us write 5 letters. One expressed gratitude, one expressed a concern, one was a petition for support, one was a petition for monetary support, and the 5th one was a request for presence at an event. NELP Standard 5.3 is about communicating to advocate for the needs of your school. This project was a hard one to do because it was a fictitious situation that dealt with the aftermath crisis, or the aftermath of a crisis. And we wrote communication for social media, radio, text messaging, and television broadcast. NELP Standard 6.1 is a big one. It talks about the management, communication technology, school level governance, and operation systems. So I chose the Mountainville vignette as my artifact to show competency in this standard because it's also very broad. It talks about principal disposition, school goals. I wrote a big tactical plan for how to address all this, a plan to address the achievement gap, community announcement, and potential solutions for ultimately raising up Mountainville Vignette to a high quality standard of a school. 6.2 talks about resource planning. This is an overlook at CAC's school budget. It's a budget that is based on data, state law, ANSA policies, and student equity. And as a side note, ANSA is the Arkansas Non-Public School Accrediting Association. It's one of our accrediting agencies at CAC, and they have their own policies. 6.3 is about laws, rights, policies, and regulations regarding both adults and students. So in this assignment, I looked at 3 policies at CAC that are in our employee handbook: the public relations guidelines, our alcohol consumption policy, and our employee dress code policy. 6.3 continued. This is the second artifact to demonstrate competency in this NELP standard. And this is a project where I talked to Rob McGill, who's the superintendent at Academics Plus Charter Schools, talked to him about how he decides priorities for their board meetings, how he leverages technology in preparation for those board meetings, how he approaches contentious agenda items, and also how he communicates the board agenda to stakeholders. NELP Standard 7.2 talks essentially about a collaborative professional culture. And I really truly believe that this can start in PLCs. So in this activity with Ms. Campbell, we talked about the history and the current state of PLCs at CAC and also recommended improvements for those. NELP Standard 7.3 talks about professional learning or professional development. So in this assignment, I looked at professional development needs at CAC and developed an action plan that focuses on reflection, cultural responsiveness, distributed leadership, digital literacy, school improvement, and student success, as the standard talks about. And finally, Standard 7.4 talks about school improvement. So in this standard, I have an observation instrument that I created in my master's program that is essentially, it's tailored at the secondary level, but it's designed for any content area, whether it's a core subject or PE or business or fine arts. It's comprehensive and practical for any subject area at the secondary level. And at this point, I would be remiss if I didn't give a big thank you to all of my professors at Henderson State University. I've grown a tremendous amount in this program, and I look forward to the next step in my career. Go Reddies!